there's no doubt in my mind that if presented with these two victims today, then the statute of limitations had not run. There would be criminal charges against Bernie Fine.
Strong words from Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick. Tonight we have a detailed look inside the Bernie Fine investigation. NBC3 News at 5 starts right now.
From CNY Central, this is NBC3 News at 5 in enhanced widescreen. Voted best newscast by the Syracuse Press Club.
Good evening, I'm Matt Mulcahy.
And I'm Jackie Robinson. District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick says he can't bring Bernie Fine to justice for two men who say they were abused by the former Syracuse coach. But today, Fitzpatrick stood up for those accusers, saying they did the right thing. The two men at the center of the case, Bobby Davis and Mike Lang, say that Fine started molesting them when they were ball boys with the team. Fitzpatrick says their claims are credible, and the only thing stopping prosecution is that too much time has passed. Fitzpatrick talked in depth about the case today, including how he looks at the investigation. Jim Kenyon was at the DA's news conference today. He joins us live from Syracuse University with details on what the DA had to say. Jim?
Well, you know, Jackie, the fact that the DA would find that because of the statute of limitations, they could not prosecute Bernie Fine over these sexual abuse allegations, it really comes as no surprise. We've been reporting this since day one. But as you heard, the DA did say that had the accuser here, Bobby Davis, come to him earlier, Bernie Fine would have been arrested and put on trial.
Crises have a tendency to...
With media from across the country in attendance, District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick says he was fulfilling a promise to report to the community about his investigation into Bernie Fine.
But for the obvious problem of the statute of limitations, their allegations would have resulted in the arrest of Bernie Fine.
Fitzpatrick said when ESPN reported the former ball boys Bobby Davis and Mike Lang alleged that former coach Bernie Fine had abused them in the mid-'80s. As prosecutors, the DA's office had to get answers to three questions. Question one, were Davis and Lang truthful? After interviewing them, looking for physical evidence, corroboration, and especially after listening to the infamous recording of a phone conversation between Davis and Bernie Fine's wife, Lori, the DA found
on almost every single criteria, Bobby Davis came out as a credible person.
Question two, are there other victims? Zach Tomaselli came forward recently claiming that he had been abused by Fine in 2002. But Fitzpatrick found that his story did not add up, and by law, he will hand over evidence on Tomaselli that could help Bernie Fine's defense.
I have and will be providing Bernie Fine's defense counsel with records we have obtained.
The DA said he looked into reports of a fourth victim reported by the New York Daily News, an unidentified man doing a life sentence as a persistent felon.
There simply is no victim number 4.
Question 3. How were the investigations by the Syracuse Police Department and Syracuse University handled? Fitzpatrick again criticized Syracuse police for not cooperating with his investigation, but he found that there was no evidence they purposefully buried Bobby Davis's complaint to them in 2002. The DA was critical of the investigation launched by Syracuse University in 2005 when it commissioned the law firm of Bond, Schoeneck & King to investigate Bobby Davis's allegations. The DA said the law firm was not equipped to investigate child abuse allegations and failed to report anything to the DA's office. But Fitzpatrick stopped short of accusing SU of an institutional failure. Did you feel that they had an obligation to contact you?
Well, there's a legal obligation, no. Did they have a common sense obligation, a professional obligation? Absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
So isn't that an institutional failure?
I think it's a failure in trusting the report. I don't know that it's a quote institutional failure. I wouldn't go that far.
Now, the Bond, Schoeneck & King law firm has deferred comment to Syracuse University. They have not yet commented to us, but Chancellor Nancy Cantor has said in the past that when Bobby Davis came to them in 2005, he told them they had gone to the police 3 years earlier, so they naturally assumed that the district attorney's office had been clued in. Reporting live from the Carmelo Anthony Center, I'm Jim Kenyon.
Throughout the scandal, there have been calls for Chancellor Cantor and head coach Jim Boeheim to resign. Fitzpatrick disagrees, saying Bernie Fine has caused enough pain. He says Boeheim did the right thing by apologizing for his original harsh comments. Fitzpatrick says Boeheim and Cantor both trusted a friend and trusted the school's investigation that came up empty.
Well, a critical figure in the Bernie Fine case as it has unfolded over the last 3 weeks has been that third accuser, Zach Tomaselli. It was his statement to police that provided the foundation for the search of Bernie Fine's home, office, locker, and safe deposit boxes. The DA did not offer Tomaselli that same stamp of credibility as he did with those first two victims. Zach Tomaselli has claimed at Bernie Fine's invitation he took a bus ride to Pittsburgh in January of '02 to watch a Syracuse-Pittsburgh game. That's where Tomaselli says he was molested by Fine. The DA now says he's handing over evidence to the U.S. attorney that proves Tomaselli's story does not hold up.
I have and will be providing Bernie Fine's defense counsel with records we have obtained from Syracuse University regarding the team's travel arrangements for that particular game, which consisted of traveling from Tennessee to Pittsburgh. We will also be providing defense counsel with hotel records, which we have obtained in the course of our investigation. And finally, and most importantly, we will be providing defense counsel with school records from the Copenhagen School District relating to Mr. Tomaselli's attendance on the days in question.
Tomaselli's father has said Zach was in school that day and never made a trip to Pittsburgh.
What about Zach Tomaselli, this third victim? You talked about the school records. Do the attendance records show he was in school that day?
I have to turn over exculpatory material that tends to indicate either that the accuser is not telling the truth or that there is something beneficial to the defense. I don't turn over things that other than that. And I have turned those over to defense counsel.
Does it show he didn't travel with the team?
Any of those questions should be referred to the United States Attorney. They're the one that used him to get a search warrant.
You don't give him credibility, though.
Anybody else?
We have not been able to reach Tomaselli so far this afternoon. The DA revealed Tomaselli called them to make his case. The DA's investigators had already found independent evidence that's now being turned over to the U.S. Attorney. Now, Bernie Fine's lawyers released a statement late in the day saying it appears now that there is proof that Zach Tomaselli fabricated this allegation. The incredible damage that Tomaselli has inflicted on Mr. Fine cannot be overstated. We are hopeful that federal authorities will soon come to the same conclusion regarding Tomaselli's lack of credibility.
Many of you were commenting on our Facebook page during the news conference and after it. Our Facebook fan of the day, Lucille Benjamin, says, quote, "My hat is off to the DA. Now, as for Mr. and Mrs. Fine, I cannot believe that they will not serve any jail time for what they did to these kids. I am so sick of this law that runs out. It should never run out," end quote. To join the conversation, like our Facebook page and leave a comment.
In the interest of full disclosure tonight, Bond Shenikin King has provided legal counsel to Barrington Syracuse, LLC, owner and operator of CNY Central, its station and its website. Additionally, our anchor, Jackie Robinson's husband, is an attorney with Bond Shenikin King. They're the ones who authored that report for Syracuse University. Our coverage of the latest developments in the Bernie Fine investigation continues throughout the newscast tonight. Coming up at 5:30, Michael Benny takes a look at how the allegations have impacted the community, plus what the NCAA may do in reaction to the scandal here and at Penn State. Meanwhile, the Penn State investigation worsens. Former assistant football coach Jerry Sandusky has been returned to jail, arrested at home. He was arrested this afternoon on new charges of sexual abuse. Charges involved allegations by two new accusers. They told a grand jury they were abused by Sandusky in 1997 and 2004. Sandusky has admitted to showering with young boys but denied anything sexual. He is currently being held today on $250,000 bail.
And taking a live look over the city of Syracuse, we've been enjoying warmer weather, but snow is in the forecast again. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Wayne Mahar is on the weather deck. He's outside now tracking the forecast. Hi, Wayne.
Hey there, Jackie. Well, it's actually snowing right now. Some of the higher elevations down to our south. Here's a look at, first of all, some watches, warnings, advisories for you that we've got going on. First of all, counties in pink on Seagrove County, Shenango County, down south into the central southern tier, winter weather advisory going on right now through tonight. Winter storm warning in effect for the Catskills. Notice the Eastern Lake Ontario counties a lake effect snow watch. That's a completely different system Thursday night on and through Friday evening. Snowfall amounts, generally speaking, some of those highest elevations south and east of here, 3 to 6 inches of snow. Locally, the immediate Syracuse area, from nothing to maybe a slushy inch or two, southern parts of the county. Of course, you can always track rain or snow with interactive Doppler radar at cnycentral.com. Full forecast coming up.
Thank you, Wayne. Happening now, some last-minute revisions have stalled legislative action on a proposal to cut taxes for millions of people. The changes are minor, though, and Assembly leaders say the deal should still go through. Lawmakers in both the Senate and Assembly are expected to approve the tax bill sometime today. The bill was agreed upon yesterday by Governor Andrew Cuomo and legislative leaders. The proposal would cut taxes for most middle-class New Yorkers by $200 to $400.
There's a new deal in place between a local school and the Air Force. Senator Charles Schumer says the agreement will allow Columbia College to reopen its doors at Hancock Field. The college had to close to all but high security clearance students after the base took on more classified missions. And now a 3-year lease will open up a modular facility and parking lot off Town Line Road starting in March.
Everything we asked the Air Force to do, they're going to do. So we feel very good about this, and a fine institution that's trained thousands of young men and women in central New York will stay open, keeping the jobs, keeping the students from having to find another place for their education.
The school is set to reopen in the spring and March of next year.
Well, today marks an important anniversary in our country's history. It's been 70 years since the attack on Pearl Harbor. Coming up, a look at how the country is honoring victims and remembering survivors. Plus, it was a long process, but disgraced former Governor Rod Blagojevich has finally been sentenced. How long he'll be in prison, that's coming up at 5:30. At CNY Central is giving you the chance to get some big discounts for local restaurants, shops, and other businesses. Today's deal is for Strength in Motion. You can find it by clicking on the CNY Central Deals section of our homepage. And to save some time in your busy schedule, sign up to have us email our daily deals directly to your inbox. Outside on the weather deck tonight, it goes without saying, Wayne, that you're struggling with the voice a little this week.
A little laryngitis.
We can hear, although we certainly wish you well as you give us the forecast.
Well, thanks. We'll do the best we can. Here's what's going on. We've obviously got the western side of that stalled weather front that we've been talking about for the past couple of days, giving us some wet weather right now. And for some areas where it's a couple of degrees colder, like down to the south of Syracuse, higher elevations, instead of a little light rain like we've got out here, it's a little snow. Let me show you what's going on. Here's a look at advisories, watches, warnings for you. Counties in pink: Otsego County, Shenango County, down into the central southern tier. Winter weather advisory for tonight. Counties in red: Catskills, winter storm warning, where some of those places could get to 6 to 10 inches of heavy wet snow. And then a whole separate deal, the Eastern Lake Ontario counties for Thursday night on into Friday and Friday evening. These counties here, you could pick up 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of lake effect snow. So winter, as we've been saying for a while now, winter trying to slowly settle in. Here's a look at live triple Doppler radar. Pretty much now from Syracuse southbound, where you see the pink, that's where there's still sort of a rain-snow mix. Looks to be mainly all snow right now. Higher elevations down into Cortland County, eastern parts of Tompkins County, down into the southern tier. And I think as the temperature drops another 1, 2, 3 degrees, many of us will turn over to some snow, and then most of the steady snow, most of the steady precipitation for the immediate central New York area should pretty much be winding down by about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So hour by hour then, mix going over to snow most areas this evening. Snow for the rest of the, the next 3, 4, 5 hours anyway, heaviest south and east of Syracuse. Then by the time we get to 1, 2, 3 in the morning, snow tapering off, ending later on, and the low tonight around 30 degrees. This stalled weather front is what's causing it. This front will head slowly away later on tonight, tomorrow night, and then it will make way for a little cold air to give some of that lake effect activity up over the eastern Lake Ontario counties. Snowfall amounts, the immediate Syracuse area, light blue, 0 to maybe an inch or 2 at the very most. But in the blue area here, pick your spot, 1 to 4 inches, 3 to 6 inches down here. Highest amounts, higher elevations. Tomorrow, a quieter day, a little windy, clouds mixed with a little sun, a few leftover flurries, 40. Friday, clouds, scattered snow showers, 40 degrees, some lake effect snow Friday night on into the first part of the day Saturday, especially on up to the north. 32 on Saturday, and then fairly quiet to start out next week. Don't forget about Toys for Tots. Bring in new unwrapped toys. Drop them off to us any weekday here at CNY Central or one of our secondary sites like Peter Harris Clothes, or come on by to experience our CNS Company's Toys for Tots drive-through Tuesday, December 20th from 5 until 7. And that's the latest from the weather outside.
70 years ago today, the Japanese launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, killing nearly 2,500 Americans. The attack changed our history and brought America into World War II. Today, a special ceremony was held at the site of the attack. Stephanie Stanton has the details.
A military flyover in the missing man formation, followed by a moment of silence at 7:55 a.m., marked the moment the attacks began here 70 years ago. The presentation of colors and the national anthem helped commemorate the anniversary of the Japanese surprise attack on December 7, 1941.
USS Arizona.
Well, more than 2,400 died that day. Now, 70 years later, some 3,000 people came to remember, including more than 100 survivors. Among them, 88-year-old Mal Middlesworth. Middlesworth gave the keynote address at the ceremony. He was just 18 when the attack happened and remembers it like it was yesterday.
The day of infamy united our country as never before. The country rallied around the slogan, "Remember Pearl Harbor."
Middlesworth and the other survivors are now in their late 80s and early 90s. For many, this may be their last journey to Pearl Harbor. A piece of living history that will eventually be gone, but the memories of that fateful day will forever live on in American history.
Let no one disturb the sacred water in the harbor. They hold the watery graves of that date of infamy, and those among us whose ashes are yet to join you. Remember Pearl Harbor. Keep America alert. God bless you, and God bless America.
This was just one of many events commemorating Pearl Harbor here in Hawaii. The day will end with a memorial parade in Waikiki. In Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, Stephanie Stanton, NBC News.
Coming up new at 5:30, Caitlin Nuclo shows us how local veterans are remembering the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Well, tonight, the health official in the U.S. government is weighing in on the debate over Plan B, the top health official. Should young girls be able to get it? Coming up, new details on how accessible the morning after pill can be. You're watching NBC3 News at 5. And when you're on Facebook, remember to connect with us by searching CNY Central. Tell us you like the page. That'll keep you connected for all the latest CNY Central updates.
And welcome back to NBC3 News at 5. New tonight, the morning after pill will not be sold over the counter. The Food and Drug Administration was about to lift the age limit on getting the pill known as Plan B. But Health and Human Service Secretary Kathleen Sebelius overruled the FDA, saying she was concerned that young girls couldn't properly understand how to use the pill without guidance. Right now, only girls 17 years or older can get the pill without a prescription. The pill prevents pregnancy if taken soon after unprotected sex. Researchers at the Pentagon say that the amount of time a soldier spends at home between deployment could impact the chances of mental health problems like post-traumatic stress disorder. The at-home time is called dwell time. Researchers say that longer dwell times can make it harder to get back into the warrior mindset. Other experts say that more time at home means more time is available for a diagnosis.
In our Facebook story of the day today, you voted to hear more about a new cancer test that could save lives. The test helps analyze breast cancer tumors to give doctors a better answer about how to proceed once that tumor is found. Erica Edwards explains.
Cindy Giagan was 35 years old when she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
The first thing you ask is, why me? And I believe something had to do with the environment.
Some things that increase the risk for breast cancer, like genetics and your age, are out of a woman's control. But women can control so-called environmental factors, like what you eat, whether you smoke or exercise.
Okay, we're going to pick it up a little bit now.
A new report from the Institute of Medicine lists the various lifestyle factors that might be related to breast cancer, starting with those that have been proven to increase the risk for the disease.
Medical radiation, the use of combined progestin estrogen hormone therapy, oral contraceptives when currently being used, as well as alcohol and obesity and overweight.
Factors that lowered the risk for breast cancer: regular physical activity and maintaining a healthy weight, especially after menopause. Using hair dye was found not to influence the risk for the disease, as well as exposure to devices like microwaves. But the jury is still out on several other factors, like exposure to secondhand smoke or the chemical BPA and your work hours.
Night shift work, there's some growing evidence that may influence risk for breast cancer.
For Cindy Giagan, whose parents smoked and used pesticides in their garden, these unanswered questions are a source of disappointment.
And I don't know that we know anything today that we didn't know last week or 16 years ago.
Experts agree there's still much to learn. They hope this report will give them the clues they need to fill those knowledge gaps. Erica Edwards, NBC News.
NBC3 is giving away a little bit of holiday cheer this season in the form of a holiday shopping spree, and signing up is as easy as one click. All you have to do is like our CNY Central Facebook page. When we reach 25,000 fans, we'll give away a $100 gift card. When we hit 30,000 fans, you'll have the chance to win a $400 gift card. The contest ends December 15th, so log on now and like us for your chance to win.
Well, today, Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick came to the defense of Syracuse University head basketball coach Jim Boeheim. Coming up at 6, hear the DA's own words on why Jim Boeheim should keep his job. You're watching NBC3 News at 5. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter by searching CNY Central when you're on Twitter, or in your browser, type twitter.com/CNY Central.